I am so excited to introduce you to our guest today. So we've been in touch for the last 5 years, apparently, and Cynthia is with us today so that we can do a live coaching session around the project she has, and of course in the context of our new normal, as she call it. So I'm going to introduce you to our famous guest, and before I go forward, I just want to let you know that if you don't know me, my name is Angélique BINET, and I'm the founder of Social Media Love. And I help women entrepreneurs to unleash their inner rock star on social media so that they can position themselves powerfully with confidence and fierceness so that they can share their message with the world. And this woman I'm about to introduce to you is exactly about that. So in we go. Here we go. Hello, Cynthia.
Hello, Angélique. Here we are.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us and to spend time to kind of brainstorm on what can we do today, this week, this month to move forward in the context that we all know from the inside of our home for those of us who don't need to be on the front lines, right? So welcome aboard.
Absolutely.
Could you tell us who you are?
Absolutely. Well, you said that I'm a rock star. Love that. But let me just say, I have been in business for 40 plus years now in my life. And what I do primarily is I'm a consultant. My company is called High Altitude Thinking Inc. And what I am is a business developer. So clients come to me and they have special projects. They have something they want to launch. There's something they maybe need a recovery on that isn't going so well. And I tend to take that project on for them. And really, I'm their second set of eyes. And I coordinate, bring in all the professionals that we need, from sign makers to media gurus like yourself through to whatever. And I'm the one that sort of handles that for them. So I've been doing this myself for 15 years now. I've had my company, and I can't believe it's 15 years, but it is. And then I met you in our context there, Angélique, because I also have founded a women's conference called Power of the Purse. It's a celebratory day of bringing women together, and we inspire each other and motivate each other. And so you and I met through that because you came on board as my social media guru.
Yes.
And also attended. So that's how we know each other. So that's something else I do as manager. I'm the founder of Power of the Purse.
Yes, so we're reconnected, Cynthia, because of what's going on, and we know that it's rough and tough, and as well it's an opportunity to think in high altitude.
Yep, high altitude thinking. That's right. Right. So it's unique, obviously, for all of us that we're in this situation with this worldwide pandemic. So one of the things I really wanted to say at the start, Angélique, is that I'm hoping that people will realize that we're all in this and together, and it's new for all of us. So I realize there are some people who, like myself, who have my business out of my home. I have had for many, many years, like yourself. And so it hasn't been a radical change in that respect for us. Our work environment is still the same. What may have changed, though, is, like myself, I now have a spouse who is upstairs in the den running his business out of that, because his office with 100 employees are all closed down and everybody is working from home. So some of us will have that. Others of us will have children with us now at home because all the kids are out, right? So,
Yeah.
so those things have changed, and it may be that someone is now working out of their house and they always had an office, and now, but as I say, and others of us are here. But I really am hoping that people will realize, don't be so hard on yourself. It's only been really, we're into our second week. I mean, some have obviously been isolating a bit before, but really it hasn't been that long. I mean, think of the radical change in the world from just last weekend to today. So I'm hoping that it's my message to everyone, and especially women who are home and they're entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, running businesses. They're listening to this call with us. And I'm saying, don't be so hard on yourself. Be a bit kinder, because you've only started, and we're dealing with also the psychological stress of this and the shock of it. So we can't really expect to be right on the money, right, and get started. So anyway, that's just what I wanted to say. And for God's sake, do not apologize if you're on a phone call, a conference call, a Zoom call, a Skype call, and your kids start coming in and crawling all over you or whatever. That's okay, right? We're all human and we have these situations. So I hope people are just a little easier and gentler. So that was my first message.
I love it. I love your mindset. So tell me more, Cynthia, how in today's world I could help you today to position yourself, because I know you have an amazing project coming on, and I'm sure there are other women entrepreneurs here who were about to launch something and bam!
Yeah, bang. Absolutely. And so many of us are going to have to rework those schedules and change. I shared with you earlier that I have this women's conference, and quite frankly, I'm looking at creating an announcement to say I am not going to be able to do it this year, and I will not be the only one who will have to make these changes. And certainly you're right about launching something new. I think, Angélique, what we're looking at in my strategy is how do we now communicate out there when there's so much noise, right? There's a lot of people now really putting an effort into being online for meetings and being online for a lot of things, and outside of just the social media piece, right? So there's a lot of what I'll call noise, and I don't mean that negatively, but there is. So the strategy then, right, has to become, what's the content? So I need you to show me as you do the path and the lane I need to be in, but for me, I'm the strategy, right? So the strategy is, what messaging should I firstly be putting out there to my existing clients? And I think that has to be obviously a reassurance to let people know you're open for business if you are in fact, because look at how many of us are not essential services and have had to close down if you have bricks and mortar, right? We don't have bricks and mortar because we run our virtual businesses. So what is the messaging? So I think first, Ange, we want to do a message about that we're safe and that we're practicing safe business. And maybe from there, we want to update and let our clients know that we are open for business and we're still able to be there. So that would be one piece. And I think then the other piece to that is, let's find ways, social media wise, on Insta or whatever you're thinking, but let's create a new strategy that has to do with some personal stories, right? Because right now I think people want to put their effort into, and hearing the little clips and snips of what you're personally doing, I think really brings home that what we'll miss in the face-to-face meetings and that getting to know each other personally, right? So I think, Angélique, if we could put some personal message, personal story in amongst what we're creating on Canva or however we're doing this, I think that's a good strategy. So those would be, I think, kind of the where to begin, right? We got to begin somewhere. So what if we look at those things?
Okay. So first, let the customers how you are doing as a business entrepreneur, and
yes.
that whether you open or not. And I love this. I've been seeing a lot on social media businesses still like running stories or posts, but not saying clearly, am I still in business or not? So right. I think this is amazing what you say. Like, first tell your clients, your current clients, are you in business? And maybe you are, but it has changed the way you deliver your service or your products. So, so here's the thing. It's hard, because, as you said, there's so many posts everywhere, but maybe if you have a social media presence, there are little things you could do to make it clear for people when they look for you, like, is it closed, is it open, is it still, are they okay, I might find you, I send a private message, are they crying right now, you don't know.
You do not know, that's correct. Yeah.
So what about you use your, for example, Facebook banners, yes. LinkedIn banners, if you're on Twitter banners, like something that says we are open online, if that's the case, online, yeah. Or we deliver, like whatever you put in place in the last few days, because it probably happened just a few days ago.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Identify it clearly so that people don't have to question or wonder and worry to bother you. So you could use your image banners, and then for each social media platforms, you always have a little about sections, right? Where you put who you are and your time you open and stuff like that. So what about you add one line that clearly states how I can reach you and what I can I still buy or get from you? Because it's not always about buying. It could be like, it depends on what business you are. So could you tell me more about what type of businesses you were thinking of?
Well, I think, right, it's interesting because I was looking specifically today online, watching what communications were coming my way. with the thought of us having this conversation. And so, for example, one email I got was from a retailer. And so clearly they're not open. They have bricks and mortar, they have a location, but they're not open for business. However, I'm sorry, they're not physically open for business. However, they still are, and now they're doing online. While you used to with this store, you used to be able to look at their product. It's a clothing store, accessory store, they have home goods. So while you used to be able to look at their product, like a lookbook, you couldn't order it online per se, right? So you used to go to the store. So they're not set up with an actual store, a purchasing completion and all of that. But now they're going to need to, right, if they want to keep doing their business. So, but I found that was good because that was the message they were sending out. Hey, we're here, you know, and we recognize all this is going on. And in this mad world that we're happening now, you can still buy, you can still look. And they kind of did a little indulge yourself, take a moment, take a breath, have a look at what we've got. So I liked the messaging in that, and it came via an email because I'm on their constant contact list. But then, of course, it was good links to click in and start looking at what they've got.
That's
so
awesome.
I would say then, right, that would be something that we'd want to make sure is your path is very clear, that you're offering these good links, right?
Yes. So email is one way, definitely. And then your social media windows, you know, the first things you see, so that you bang, the new me, this is me.
That's exactly. That's correct, right? It was interesting too. Another thing that came up today that I thought was very good, it was a service provider. So the first one I spoke to you about was a retail products, but this was a service that they provide. And this was really good, Angélique. It was a quick video. So the email came in, and then you click on it, and it was a young woman, and she's sitting at a desk. It was kind of cute because she had a hat on, which made me think, you know, our hair, in another couple of weeks, I have a hat that says bad hair day. I may have to put it on permanently. But anyway, so she had a cap on her head. She's sitting at her desk, and she did these things. She said, this is who I am. This is the role I play in my company. And it obviously had a relation to the product that I've used with this company. And she said, and here's what I'm doing. And she gave us about 3 sentences about what she was doing. And then that was it. And then she had some great links under her video that you could easily click on. And that was it. And it was bright and cheerful. And it was like a little interruption. And, you know, I likened it to if we worked in an office, you know how your other fellow employees, colleagues will walk by and stop at your office for a couple minutes just to say hi or something and walk on. I felt like she had done that in this virtual world, right?
Nice.
Because it was just a quick in. It was bright and it was clear. I got the message. I could click on it. So anyway, that I actually took the time to send her back because it had an extra little click that said respond or reply back if you wanted to. So I did, and it populated obviously with a message, and I wrote in and just said exactly those things. Great, well done. I liked what you did. But Angélique, it was all of 38 seconds, so it was not a long time. It was a really quick, bright interruption.
Yeah.
So I think that's another one we should look at, you know?
Yeah, so that's the second point you were raising. Show up. Show up for your audience. The one who knows you right now and the one who don't know you yet, because we know, like from preliminary studies, apparently people are spending at least twice the amount of time online right now. So don't ignore the fact that you're going to meet new clients. They may not buy now. Maybe they do. Like, we can't presume. Some people still buy, right? But you're building that relationship now through the story we're all going through. Yeah. And in a sense, it makes it easier for us. Here's why I'm saying. Because even if you don't talk about what's going on, we always say, oh, there is so much noise on social media. Or how can I share my story so that, you know, people relate to me, so that we build the trust, then we nurture and then after that they buy from you. That's how you work on social media. Like, you tell the world, I exist. The second you build the trust, then you grow a relationship, then the person wants to buy from you, right? So right now we have kind of an opportunity that we're sharing the same pain, right? Yes. So the connection, like, don't hesitate to, like this lady that you felt like she was stopping at your office, like saying, hey, how you doing? This is what I'm doing, trying to go through the day. And so, yes, pieces, like, you can't ignore I would say if you show up for your audience and then share little pieces of,
Yes.
how it impacts you and how you
Yes.
make the best of it. That's
Yes.
what you had, that feeling that it was a positive vibe. She was
Absolutely.
not like playing victim. She was like, we're gonna get through
Yep.
this. Because this is what we
Absolutely.
do as entrepreneur. It's hard to be an entrepreneur, right? So it's another obstacle and we're gonna go
It is.
through this.
Yep. But as entrepreneurs, we know that we tend to be more resilient and we tend to be more easily, we're more adaptable, we change. And so those are our strengths. So people can look to us to that strength. So I think that those messaging. The other piece to that for me is also, as I said, this personal story and humor. Okay. So there's some great, as you've seen, there's some great things on Facebook and on LinkedIn and being tweeted out, fun little things, right? Either a photo, there was one yesterday that was a guy in his kitchen and there was a dog up in the upper cupboards and saying, I'm not coming down, I've had my 20th walk today, like just fun, humorous things. And I love that. And I also have always been someone who thinks we deal with adversity, we need some humor to it. So I would suggest don't be shy in sharing one of those, right? Find one that makes sense to you and share that out, right? Like there's
Yeah.
a personal piece to
Yeah.
that too, and it also gives somebody, it doesn't have to be about your business, right? Like
No.
you're helping, so this is all part of that. So I would say use some humor and share some of that, right? In
Yeah,
in one of
right
those.
now people need to be entertained, to be informed, the correct information, and they need to be educated. So this is the time where people are going to take more time to learn about whatever your expertise is. So maybe it's personal development, like female empowerment, which is kind of your niche, right?
Yep. Yes,
So
that's correct.
how can you create content right now that will support those women who were either on the edge of really changing their life around really feeling more empowered and how to do it, or people who were in the middle of, maybe becoming a speaker, but now they can't speak
Yes,
anymore. So
that's right. That's right.
how can you help them
Right.
right now with content that you diffuse? Either, I don't know if you have a blog, a podcast, or videos on YouTube, or on your social media platform, a
That's
Facebook
right.
Live once a week, where you're
That's
going to
right.
teach your audience some tools in the context of today of how to keep moving forward
Yes.
and educate them. And
Yes.
in between, so maybe
Yep.
it's Monday that you do that, and Tuesday you're going to have a very inspirational quote, and maybe Thursday is going to be the meme, or ask your audience caption this, a funny thing,
Yes.
caption this. And then you're going to bring your community together maybe on Thursday. Who else has 3 pets sitting by their
Yes.
chair right now at
Share.
home?
Take a photo.
And
Yep.
then people will, so it's a mix of content. So it's the time to really create your content right now. We have less time to go in the car and drive here and there, right? So we have
That's right.
more time than ever, I think, to create, like every morning from 6 to 7, either you write your blog or you record your video. What is the one thing I can teach today so that I can serve online? So
That's
what
right.
you're going to be doing is planting the seeds for when it's over,
Yep.
whether it takes 1, 2, 3 months or more. People are going to be so much in love with you because you're going to help them to go through this and grow out of it as a new person, that they're going to want to buy from you. They're going to want to work more with you. So that's how I see it.
Yes, it comes back to what you were saying. That's all the steps of building that relationship, but it's a little more conscious this way, and it isn't about, the timeline is different. It's not about sort of closing the deal sooner, or it isn't about, we recognize that there's a lot longer of a timeline now, so it gives us that time to take a breath and offer things, as you're saying, that you can do to build and grow that relationship. I'm thinking of doing a book list, all right? So you send out a book list of empowering books that I've read that I recommend to clients, and so here's that list. So there's a resource. So become a resource. How about putting together and finding YouTube videos, et cetera, of speakers, TED Talks, whatever, that work with what your message is, right? So then, as you say, then you add that onto one day. That's what you send out. So I think, Angélique, it's really a time to be able to add a lot more value than maybe we have been able to do even before, right? Because we have felt this this pressure to the time. And so now we've got the time to do that. And we have to be respectful of the fact that people, financially, things are very different and very difficult for some. And everybody's sort of frozen in time, wondering how it's going to go. So that's okay. There's lots of free content and there's lots of resources I think that you could and I will feel good about putting out there. And it's like, here, I'm sharing, right? I'm sharing with you.
Yeah,
here's my book list.
I don't think you should be, even if you have something to sell, you should not be afraid of if the person wants it. Like, there's no shame in having something that people need right now that they want. So what's happening is a lot of people have to change their offers, right? So maybe people see less in the long term. Maybe they need something to help them for the next month. So maybe that's what needs to happen in terms of the service world, that we need to change our offers so that people feel safe and in control, right? Because right now we need control. So the only ways we can control is our time and our money is by feeling safe, right? So what in our offers or in your offer as an entrepreneur, as a consultant, you could put in place that is safe, like perceived safe, you know what I mean? But what I would add, Cynthia, is to make sure that when we say create content, that this is content that is your own. So yes, for example, let's go back to your book list of books, right?
Books.
So what about, so maybe it's a live video that you did. This is my books, right? And then you say this book was about this and this has really changed my life, blah, blah, blah. But then at the end of the day, your goal is beyond building the trust, is to build your audience. So how could you give that list in exchange of an email, for example, or a private message so that you keep touch with people, right? So think of building content that's going to be evergreen, and even after the crisis, you're going to be using that list of books as well, right? So create things that, yes, are adaptive to the time we're going through, but that's going to stay with you, and that people can still consult regularly on your website or wherever you need to put your content. So this is why maybe it's a time for some entrepreneur to figure out, where does my content live?
That's right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Social media is the amplifier of your content, but your core content, the core content that kind of is the continent of your message and how you help people, where does it live? So maybe it's your time to decide, I'm going to do a YouTube channel. That's going to be where my content's going to live forever. I'm exaggerating, okay?
No, but
that's going to be my foundation. This is my foundation for my content. Or maybe that's going to be a podcast, because who can't listen to podcast right now? It's going to be the podcast craziness, even more than before.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or maybe it's a blog, and you have a blog, depending on what you like. Do you like to talk? Do you like to film? Do you like you have to pick one platform of content, and then maybe it's a time for you to start building it right now. Build your content and share it on social media. So let's say you pick a podcast. I don't know. I see you on a podcast. I don't know.
I don't. But
you would be so good. You're such a good talker. I like it.
But yes, so you're right. But so if it is a podcast, then there's your podcast, and that's your topic, and you build around that.
Yeah, and then you use your social media platform to promote your content, to share pieces of your content. If people want more, then they're gonna go to your podcast, right?
Yes. Right.
So maybe that's like, I don't want people to think that social media should be the only place where your content live, right? So what else do you have? If you remove social media, your message still is there, like it's in you. Where do you put your message? Where, on which body, right? So it's up to everybody to decide. Ideally, you would have like all the things, but when you have to start somewhere, what is the vehicle of your content, right? And then you use your social media platform to communicate, build audiences, so that you kind of disseminate your message, and then when people want more, you send them to that big platform where you have your core message there, right?
Yes. So Angélique, a question I have is websites themselves, right? So I'm not sure that we're all using our websites as much as we can themselves. You know, social media is one thing, but that driving people back to the website, because, you know, we've got our tabs and we have our things, but I'm not, and I may be totally wrong, and it might just be myself, but I have a couple of websites, and I know that I want to keep updating content on it, but sometimes you find that you spend more time doing the Facebook and the Insta and those things, and working with, what do I want to put on LinkedIn? What should I tweet out? And then there lies the website, right? So what would you recommend as a way to maybe, if we all turned and looked at our website as an exercise to say, okay, what can we do with that website to make it more active and have people, right? I know it's not interactive the same way as social media, but that was my question to you.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask.
Yeah. So I'm not a website expert, but what I can tell you is that what's really important, if you have a website or a blog, or if some people don't even have a website or even a blog, but sometimes you just have what we call a landing page, which is like a mini website where you can have in one page all the information of what your business is and have little sections. So I love talking about websites, because if this is where you put your content, right? Because the website, you have some, you know, fixed sections about what you do, your services and stuff. But maybe you have a blog component to your website, or you have, you know, pages on your website that are key explaining your services. And and then, so what's important is that you want to see who's visiting your website, and then of course you need to optimize it. So that's another world. But what I want you to consider, social media and website, this is a full ecosystem, because when you use your Facebook ads or Instagram ads, you have the option to send ads. And when we say ads, it's not only buy this, buy that. It could be anything around engagement, or read that blog, or whatever traffic you bring to your website from an ad on Facebook or Instagram or Messenger. Facebook is able to figure out who has browsed your website and send that ad to those people who read your website. So this is where the gold happens. So this is when I say, where is your content? So for example, if you know that you have a blog on your website, and you've seen that this blog about 10 things to do when you want to learn how to become a speaker, this is the page that has the most viewed, right? Views, sorry. So you're like, okay, interesting. What about, I'm going to do an ad on Facebook promoting the fact for people who wants to become speakers. Here's, 10 ways to become a speaker. And then you bring more people to your website. You build what we call a custom audience. But then, Cynthia, you're ready to open maybe a course to train speakers. So what are you going to do with your website? Well, there are many things you're going to do, but one of the things you're going to do, you're going to tell Facebook, hey, I have this course coming up, and it's going to be a free course, right? It's going to be a 3-day course, maybe, and I'm going to send it to all the people who read that blog. And you've been building that audience with other ads, sending tons of people on that blog. They love it. When they see your 3-day webinar, they all jump on it. Plus it's free. Register, you get an email list because they register with their email. They get to your webinar, and at the end of the webinar, you offer maybe a one-on-one coaching. You work 3 months with me, and you get your first gig at $5,000. I don't know. I'm just making it up, right?
Of course. But what you're saying is there's engagement, and then there's action after it, and that's a good piece to it.
But it's that we have tools on social media to target people who are checking our website. So this is why each time, and you probably live it every day when you're on clicking on your phone, you go to a website, and a minute later on your Facebook feed you have an ad that exactly talks about the products that you were checking out. This is the power of Facebook ads. And go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, and I think to speak to the content of that, back to what we were talking about at the start of this is, the personal story, some humor, etc. What you're putting in that Facebook ad you've created does not have to be, this is the product and this is the price, etc. You can use that Facebook ad as the vehicle, but the content can be the personal stuff. It could be anything you want it to be, right? To do that. I think that we don't want to limit ourselves or think we have to always make that into the ad with the clothes on it,
Yeah, I'm going to clarify exactly how to do. This is the methodology I use with all of my clients, and that's what we use for Power of the Purse. Before you do any ads, again, it's like falling in love with someone. You need first you have to tell them that you exist. So you're going to need a bunch of ads or not. Some people just do it without ads. You can. There are techniques to do it. But if you have a budget, it goes faster, right? Mm-hmm. So your first type of ad is going to be about engagement. Like you're going to figure out who is your audience, how they talk, what is their language. And once you know that, right, you're going to post content that speaks to them. Mm-hmm. Not about you. It could be about you, but in things that are, they are interested in, right? That's right. You're going to make them interact with you, and you're going to say to Facebook, hey, I want you to send this post to more people like those people or people who love that type of stuff based on their interests. So this is how you grow an audience with ads. But first, you need to know exactly who you're talking to. Otherwise, you're going to spend money and time for nothing. Right. Yeah, so this is why I have I call it the DNA lab, where we spend 2 months studying the DNA of your audience, like literally. Once you know exactly how they speak and how they react, what they like or don't, this is when you start your content calendar with the posts you were saying, what type of humor they have, what type of education they need, what type of information they're looking for. And you tick them all the time on the right buttons, and they interact, they build trust because they see you get them, you make them feel so good, so they love you, and then you grow. Then next step is like, hey guys, I built this tool for you. I have a checklist, that helps you to do whatever. So for you, it could be the 10 things or you should update on your LinkedIn account to become a speaker. I don't know, for female entrepreneur, female speaker. I don't know. So you're gonna say, I have that list for you. You're gonna give them free, and in exchange of their email. So you're going to build your email list. But guys, I wrote a full article on this, so check my website. So you're going to do an ad, sending them to your website, building that audience I talked earlier on the website. So that's like conversation and exchange of good value. Like, you make me grow. I trust you. Like, everything I upload from you, I do it, I implement, and then I get a gig or I get better. So I know you're good. So next step is the ad to sell. When you're in a phase where you're ready for campaign, people are ready because you took them in a journey. The journey of who's Cynthia. Oh, she does this. Oh, I like her. Oh my God, I want more. When do you sell anything? So that's why I'm like, even right now, don't say you don't sell anything, because some people are going to be ready, because they needed that time to stop and do it, right? So you never know, right? You never know. So my best advice, keep showing up, as you were saying at the beginning. Diversify your content as long as it fits with your audience. So ask them a lot of questions to figure out where are they right now in their head, in their heart, right? Yes. And then build content for them. Help them with content. And then in between, amuse them, entertain them, inspire them. Show them, what happened last night when you forgot you were not allowed to go outside. Like, you went back home, like little things like that.
Anything, just to build that common experience. Yes. That's what we're all doing. And it's good for us too, as the ones putting this together, that it gives us a chance to do that, because we're all, as I say, we're all in this together, right? So I think that, but that's very good. I'm glad you were able to, we had a chance to talk about that relationship between website and social media, because
and email list.
Yes, it is about that email list, and it's about getting them there. And then once you have that list built, then what do you do with it next? You're right.
And then in terms of crisis, a crisis happened. Look at the lady you mentioned in the beginning. She sent you a nice email saying, guys, I am still here. I still love you. And we're going to do this. during that time. If she didn't build her email list, she could not have get you, right?
That's right.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
it's the time right now to build your email list by building content that you give for free to people in exchange of their email. So that when something happens, you know how to reach them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Nope, that's good. And I think that, and I know you and I have worked together over the years on Power of the Purse Women's Conference, and we've built that, and that's how we're able to sell our tickets to the conference and let people know. And we do things like that because you've built that list, right? And so anyway, I think with the strategy and talking as we're wrapping up now, give yourself some time. Don't put a lot of pressure on because we're all reeling and dealing with this. But yes, we want to keep moving ahead. We have to. It's positive for everyone. But then again, look at your content and find some humor, find some interest things, be a resource. I know what I found last week was wonderful, where people were posting where there was a link to the museums that were doing the live tours. There was a link to Disney World, and they were letting you go a virtual ride. And I mean, I don't have little kids, but when people do, it's wonderful to be that resource, right?
Yes.
To grow. So that's the kind of thing right now I think we can all look at is if you ask the question, what do I need right now? What would make me feel good? And as I say, I think that young woman today with that quick little link it was just like stopping at my office door to say, hey, hi, check in. Yes. And move on, and it was brilliant.
And it's also the time to use your messenger. If you haven't used it yet, reach out to people privately and say, maybe it's a client, maybe it's a prospect, maybe it's someone that is in your group. Like, go to your groups, go through the members, and ask them, how are you doing? Right?
Yep,
no intention,
right.
just
Absolutely.
wanted to connect, and this is gonna mean tons to people.
Yes, absolutely, you're right. And I think those are the small, again, they're the genuine connectors that we all need right now, right? And we have the tools to do it.
Yes, that's what the beauty is. Yeah.
I was joking the other day because I said, look at all the connectivity we've had with Facebook, and yet I said I have to apologize to Mark Zuckerberg for all the things I said about him, because thank God we have Facebook, because all of us are now using it to stay so connected and get the messages out, right?
Yes.
So
work on your message, share your message, because people are listening, and don't tell yourself the wrong story. Oh, people don't care. People gonna think I'm gonna be selling. Like, if you're proud of what you offer to people, there is no shame in showing up, helping them every day. And if they need to buy from you, don't say no, right?
No, that's right.
Don't think for people. Be genuine, as you were saying. Serve them, keep showing up, and just do it. And there is no more excuse. We have more time to do it.
Right, absolutely. And I will end by saying, if anybody watching this has, now that they have more time, engage with you, Angélique. Use Angélique as your social media love consultant, because I know when I started with you and I did a commercial, remember you interviewed me and you asked, and I was able to say that Angélique, her social media love company made me love social media. And
I still use it because I love the tone you have in there. Like, I hated social media and she made me love it.
Social media, and you did, and I still do. So, Angélique, thank you for this time being able to do this together. I appreciate it, but I'm certainly hoping that people will take the time to connect with you, because you have a wealth of knowledge, and I know that you're there to answer the questions, right?
Yeah, and so one of the things that you're gonna see on my banners, I was saying, tell people what new product you have, even if it's free product. Mine is free. If you need a brainstorming session, kind of like what we do right now with Cynthia, we're brainstorming publicly. Look at us, how brave we are. We're publicly brainstorming with you guys. And I'm gonna check comments, because maybe we have comments that could help you too. Sure. So book me. I have my calendar. I added some spot for brainstorming sessions. If you need, if you have no idea where to start. Today I got an email from an entrepreneur. She's like, we stopped everything on Facebook because we don't know what to say. So if you're there, I don't want you to stop. So contact me, and I'll help you to position yourself so that it feels good for you and for them, right? Because we can't just drop our audience. They're our family. They're our online family. And right now we're building new families because everybody wants to hang out together, right?
Yes,
you just need to find your people, right? So I'm going to check the message because people probably have questions for you, Cynthia.
or else we've answered everything for them. or we've left, or we've left them so overwhelmed with things to think about,
Yeah.
but then that's okay because they can reach out to us afterwards,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So Cynthia, that's something I want you to tell.
Yes.
Well, I'll search. Tell us, what is your next project if you want to talk about it, and
Yeah.
how people can reach out to you? Because oh my God, when you talked to me earlier about it, I'm like, I know a lot of people who wants to talk to you already. So tell more about
So let me tell you.
what's next
Yeah.
for you.
So the timing has changed somewhat because of what we're going through. So the launch will be just a little bit later, but that's okay. What I've worked with and have brought a couple of very dynamic women together around the table to do some brainstorming ideas around this. But it is a mentorship program. Having been the founder of and putting on 24 Power of the Purse women's conferences over the last 11 years, one of the things that I've really found is in the diverse age of our audience, young future leaders through to women that are close or have retired and now they're refired up and they're doing something different, and everyone in between. So mentoring. I've been a mentor for many, many years. I've been asked to mentor. I had mentors in my young beginning years that I owe so much to. And so I have an idea, though, that I have found that without a strong program, without some structure around mentoring, then it's difficult, because how often does the mentee reach out to the mentor, and what do you talk about, and should you call each month? And sometimes it gets started very, very genuinely and everybody has great ideas and you're going to talk once a month, and then at the end of the day, though, it tends to peter out and it doesn't continue, and that seems to be repeated over and over. Now, I realize if there's a mentorship program within your company, and it's put on by the personnel department or whatever, that's different, right? That has structure, but that's in your colleagues or you're in the same company. I'm talking about people that are not connected in any way, yet you need them and want them as a mentor. So we're developing a program, and it's called Lead Her Alliance. So that's lead, L-E-A-D, and then instead of leader, it's Lead Her. So Leadher, alliance.com. And we're going to be promoting and then launching this mentorship program. So there'll be an application process for young mentees to apply to be a mentee, and for women who feel that they are at the right spot in their world that they would like to mentor, but they just don't know how to go about it, or they're whatever the reason. So we'll have them. So we're going to match mentor and mentee together. It's a 12-month program. There's content every month. There's a meetup every month on virtually on Zoom or Skype or whatever program we want to use. So, and then on top of that, we're going to have power professionals. So these are women who are likely, they've been speakers at Power of the Purse, they've got some content, but they're going to offer a webinar, and it'll be available, and there'll be a topic each month to match the topic in the program. And so you'll be able to, you and your mentee can watch it together, or obviously you watch it at a different time, but you're going to have that extra value of having these women accessible to you. And so they're going to be able to do this master mentoring. So they're power professionals. And then at the end of that, it's like a sorority. You're going to belong to this program, this Leader Alliance. There'll be a directory. There'll be an opportunity to cross information. And then there'll be, peer-to-peer. There's lots of aspects to it. So very excited about it. I think it's time for it. I think there's a need for it. And so if anyone who's listening who would like to find out more about being a mentor, or would like to see how do I become a mentee, reach out to me, and email is the best for me.
I put your email on the screen. Yeah.
And yes, and it's my new email that is, so it's cyn@cynthiao.com. And let me know if I've sparked an interest, if you want to know more, if you think you're interested. But yeah, so it's not ready to launch quite yet, Ange, but it will be, and I'm pretty proud of where we've gone with it.
Okay, so you're gonna build an audience around this, Cynthia. I see you there. I see you coming there. We're gonna see you.
Absolutely, we are, because this is a lane that I like to be in, and I think that's what so we'll be able to take audience that we already have from the women's conferences, but also I have other projects I've been involved with in communities, and then there's a new opportunity for a whole brand new audience, and I think this will eventually have an international leg to it. So,
oh yeah, I remember talking to you, when we do those sessions about what's your dream. Mm-hmm. And I remember, you were just making the dream happen.
Hey, Angelique, that's what I remember saying to you. For me, it's about impact. What's my purpose? And my purpose is impact. And I want to impact and build opportunities for women. And I want to make sure that doors open and resources are available and we can access each other because we have so much power together. So it's about that impact. And so for me, I think this program is going to really offer a great opportunity. So anyway, thanks for
Love it.
letting me
Thank you so much.
share.
Well, no, and we want to follow up. So please, like anytime you do Facebook Live or ask if you're not sure, like put question in the group, attract your client, or if you want us to support you, tell us, I'm going to go live, or tell us we want to support you.
Thank you
Right?
very much.
Because we
Thank
have
you so
amazing
much.
women in that group that I think are gonna love what you just gonna say. You
Yeah,
just said.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think there's some powerful women out there that will grab onto this opportunity and be a mentor. That's right.
Okay. Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. For if you're watching the replay, just leave your comments. We'll revisit the comments later. And Cynthia, thank you so much. I feel so good to have spent time with you. I miss
Wonderful.
you.
I miss you too.
Okay.
Thank you, Angelique, and best of luck, and we'll be in touch as always. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao now.